Hello and welcome everyone. So in this video I'll tell you how to draw a microscopic histology diagram of cervical intraepithelial neoplasia, that is CIN, and carcinoma cervix, invasive carcinoma cervix. So for this question is very important, comes very often in the exams. So you have to supplement your answer with the microscopic diagram. So if you understand the concept behind CIN and CA cervix, it will be easy for you to draw this diagram. So you just need to remember three things for uh, making the diagram of CIN and CA cervix. First is the normal histology of cervix. So in the ectocervix, there is epithelium and there is the basement membrane, and underlying that is the stroma. This is the stroma. So the epithelium is made up of stratified squamous epithelium. So it is multi-layered, that's why it is called stratified. And the squamous layer is divided into a basal layer, which is low columnar. Then there are many polygonal cells comprising of the parabasal layer, intermediate and superficial layer. So all these polygonal squamous cells are there. The superficial layer is composed of the squamous cells which are mature. So they are mature because they have glycogen. So they have glycogenated cells in the most superficial layers. The CIN and CA cervix, it is caused by the HPV, human papilloma viruses. So they have a peculiar property that they will affect the epithelium in the immature squamous epithelium. It will not infect the mature squamous epithelium. It will infect the immature squamous epithelium, that is the lower layers. So generally HPV infection occurs at the site of squamous metaplasia, where there is immature squamous epithelium, and also it can occur if there is cervical erosion and the basal layers, the immature basal layers, they are exposed. So these are the multiple layers of the squamous epithelium, and the infection of HPV occurs in the basal layers where there is immature squamous epithelium, while the replication of the HPV, they multiply in the superficial layers. They infect the basal layers, but they replicate in the superficial layers, and that occurs in the CIN1 when there is active replication. While in CIN2 and CIN3, the molecular changes they occur because of the E6 and E7 proteins of the human papilloma virus, and then there is uncontrolled proliferation in CIN2, 3 and onwards. So this was the explanation of the epithelium of cervix, and beneath the epithelium there is the stroma. So this is a stroma which is made up of fibrovascular connective tissue. So there are fibroblasts, like these spindle shaped cells having elongated nucleus. Then there are blood vessels, and blood vessels, they can have we can show RBCs inside the blood vessels, and they are lined by the endothelial cells, which are again spindle shaped cells. Now second thing that you need to know is the coilocyte. So coilocyte is a viral cytopathic effect which is caused due to the human papilloma virus in the cervical epithelium, where it infects. So coilocytic change, it is seen in the squamous cells, and a coilocyte is a viral cytopathic effect of HPV. These two things you need to remember. And how does a coilocyte looks? So coilocyte has three features which are important. So first feature is the peripheral condensation of the ectoplasm. So you can see peripherally the cytoplasm is condensed. Second feature which is most important is the presence of nuclear atypia. So nucleus is enlarged in size, it has irregular nuclear boundaries, then it is hyperchromatic, and it is also sometimes it is known as raisin like nucleus because it has appearance which is crumpled and looks like a raisin. So it has a raisin like appearance. And third important point is there is perinuclear halo. So around the nucleus there is a empty space because of the disruption of the cytoskeleton by the human papilloma virus. Now you need to differentiate the coilocyte from a mature squamous cell, because I told you that in the superficial layers of the cervical epithelium there are these mature squamous cells which are glycogenated. So how do you differentiate the cells, these glycogenated cells which are also looking little bit like a coilocyte? So the difference is that the nucleus in a mature glycogenated squamous cell, it will be bland, it will not be hyperchromatic, it will be normal chromatic, and then there will be no peripheral condensation of the ectoplasm. Then halo or clearing of the cytoplasm will be there in glycogenated cells also. The cytoplasm will be clear because of the presence of glycogen, which is not stained by the routine HND stain, but you differentiate it mainly by the nuclear features, which are atypical in case of chondrocyte and which are the nucleus which is absolutely normal in case of mature squamous cell. And lastly, when dysplasia begins in these squamous cells, so initially in the L cell of the SIN1, there is the HPV infects the basal immature squamous epithelium, and it starts multiplying in the superficial layers, and after that the E6 and E7 proteins, they inhibit, they cause the genetic changes, they cause the suppression of the P53 and retinoblastoma genes, because of which there is uncontrolled proliferation of these cervical epithelial cells, and there is initiation of the dysplasia of these cells. So how do the dysplastic cells look? So dysplastic cells, they have a enlarged nucleus, the cytoplasm becomes scanty, and the NC ratio will increase, and the nucleus will be hyperchromatic. So these are the features of the dysplastic squamous cells. So in SIN2 and SIN3, these dysplastic squamous cells, they keep on increasing because the E6 and E7 proteins of the HPV, they have taken over the machinery of the cell. So these proteins, they are synthesized using the machinery of the cell only, the nucleus of the cell, and they cause dysplasia of these cells, and these dysplastic cells, they keep on proliferating. And in SIN1, these cells which are atypical, they occupy the lower 1/3 of the epithelium. Now in SIN2, these cells, they occupy the up to 2/3 of the epithelium, while in SIN3 or carcinoma in situ, these dysplastic cells, they are present in the full thickness of the epithelium. In SIN1, 2 and 3, the basement membrane is intact. There is no disruption in the basement membrane, while when this reaches the stage of carcinoma cervix, there is disruption of the basement membrane, and these dysplastic cells, they travel or migrate into the stroma, and they can proliferate there and cause invasive carcinoma cervix, and they can proliferate in the form of nest, in the form of sheets or trabeculae. So in any form they can proliferate in the stroma, but when they reach the stroma, then it is known as invasive carcinoma cervix. So these were the basic facts you should remember before you try to draw the diagram of SIN and CA cervix. So now let's start how we will draw the diagram of CA cervix. So first we draw the basement membrane and then we draw the epithelium. So I already told you there is multi-layered, it is called stratified squamous epithelium, and this in the first column I am drawing the normal cervical epithelium. So here you draw the basal layer, parabasal layer, intermediate layer, and the topmost glycogenated squamous cells which are mature. Now you make the bland nucleus. This is the normal cervical epithelium. Now we make SIN1. In SIN1 there is active replication of the human papilloma virus, and they infect the lower basal layer which is immature, and they replicate in the superficial squamous cells. So there is coilocytic atypia which is very characteristic for SIN1. So in SIN1, in the lower 1/3 of the epithelium, we will draw the atypical squamous cells. So atypical cells, they are seen in just the lower third of the epithelium, and in the topmost superficial layers we will show the coilocytic change. So this is cervical intraepithelial neoplasia 1. Next we make SIN2. So in SIN2 what we have to do? We have to make the dysplastic cells in the up to 2/3 of the epithelium. So here you see we are making these dysplastic cells having hyperchromatic nucleus, scanty cytoplasm, high NC ratio. These cells we will make in the 2/3 of the epithelium, while the superficial layers will be uninvolved. And focal coilocytic change we can make there. Now in SIN3 or carcinoma in situ, so SIN3, carcinoma, SIN2, they are overlapping. So in carcinoma in situ there will be more dysplasia as compared to SIN3, but subjective variation is there between the pathologists, and they are considered almost the same, SIN3 and carcinoma in situ, and they are precancerous lesions. So in SIN3 we make all the three layers, all the whole of the epithelium, it will show the dysplastic cells like this. So the dysplastic cells now occupy whole of the epithelium in SIN3 or carcinoma in situ. And SIN2, SIN3, they are considered to be more pre-malignant than as compared to SIN1. SIN1 is also known as low-grade squamous intraepithelial neoplasia, while SIN2 and SIN3, they are also known as high-grade squamous intraepithelial neoplasia. Now lastly, when we have to make invasive squamous cell carcinoma, we make the basement membrane, then we show the cells which are migrating down from the basement membrane into the stroma. So these are the nest of cells which I am making in the stroma, and above the epithelium, the whole of the epithelium will be occupied by the dysplastic squamous cells. So you have to make these dysplastic squamous cells in whole of the epithelium, and now these cells are going down, invading the stroma, and that's how it becomes the invasive squamous cell carcinoma. Lastly, you make the stroma. Stroma is fibrovascular. You have to make fibroblasts and the blood vessels. So in all of this, you make the fibrovascular connective tissue stroma. So this is how you make the diagram of SIN1, SIN2, SIN3 or carcinoma in situ, and invasive squamous cell carcinoma. So this is the completed diagram, and you can label it, like you can label the stroma, the epithelium, then coilocytic ATP, especially in case of SIN1, then the epithelium involved, which is lower 1/3 in SIN1, lower 2/3 in SIN2, full thickness epithelium involved in SIN3, carcinoma in situ, and then finally the invasive squamous cell carcinoma. You can label these nest of the dysplastic cells in the stroma. So this is all about SIN and carcinoma cervix, which is caused by high risk human papilloma virus, mainly 16, 18, 31, 33, all these. And these HPV, they infect the immature squamous epithelium. They replicate there, and then they cause the dysplastic changes by inhibiting the tumor suppressor genes like p53 and RB gene, and they cause the invasive carcinoma cervix, especially in the women of the reproductive age group. So I hope this video will help you to make this diagram, and whenever the question comes in exam, you should draw this diagram along with the question. Any queries, they are welcome in the comment section. Thank you very much.